From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
And what she's really doing is fooling the American people, because this is not an official impeachment inquiry.
Banging down the doors, Arizona Republican representatives among lawmakers storming into the Democrats' impeachment inquiry in D.C., demanding openness.
Doors open downtown, what the new Fry's supermarket means for people living in the former food desert.
And we introduce you to a mother-daughter duo looking to change the face and shape of dancewear, one step at a time.
Cronkite News starts now.
It's been almost a month since the House began an impeachment inquiry of President Donald Trump over charges he tried to withhold aid to Ukraine in exchange for political favors.
For weeks now, 3 House committees have been meeting behind closed doors in a secure hearing room to take depositions in the case. That ended this morning when angry Republicans, including 2 from Arizona, demanded open hearings and then stormed the proceedings.
Cronkite News reporter Heather Cumberledge reports from our Washington bureau.
They refused us once again.
Stay.
This is an outrage.
Arizona Representative Debbie Lesko was not the only one outraged after House Republicans stormed into, and some were kicked out of, a closed-door impeachment hearing today.
You should be outraged if you're an American at what's happening here. You should be allowed to confront your accusers. This is being held behind closed doors for a reason.
Not the least of which is to shield potential witnesses from a White House that has refused to cooperate with the probe. California Congressman Eric Swalwell said the Republicans who barged in today did more than delay the meeting. They also may have compromised a secure hearing room by bringing in their phones.
Many members, dozens of members, brought in electronics, and they not only brought in their unauthorized bodies, they may have brought in the Russians and the Chinese with electronics into a space, which will require that the space at some point in time be sanitized.
Republicans who appeared to be live tweeting from inside the room later said the tweets were coming from staff. A witness who was being deposed when the lawmakers stormed in was quickly taken out and the hearing was adjourned this morning. But many of the members stayed for hours. And Florida Representative Matt Gaetz, who led the incursion, said they might try to get back in this evening.
We want to know what's going on, and it's only reasonable that we would have questions.
But Swalwell said many Republicans spent more time camped out in the room today than they have during weeks of testimony. While he called it obstruction, Lesko called it a demand for transparency.
Fair, and it's a total political hit job on the President of the United States. And this is unjust. I hope the American people see it for what it is.
While Lesko called it a hit job, another Arizona lawmaker said it was just Congress doing its job by keeping the president in check.
Tucson Democratic Congressman Raul Grijalva called the Republican actions a historical embarrassment to our country.
Today, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg appearing before Congress once again to face questions about his company's massive market power, privacy lapse, and tolerance of speech deemed false or hateful. Zuckerberg testified about Facebook's plan to create a global digital currency, which has stirred opposition from lawmakers and regulators in the U.S. and Europe.
I actually don't know if Libra is going to work. But I believe that it's important to try new things, and as long as you're doing so responsibly. That's what has made America successful, and it's why our tech industry has led the world.
It's the Facebook's chief's first testimony to Congress since April 2018. Many of the company's moves seem to spark public and official outrage these days, from its alleged anti-competitive behavior to its refusal to take down phony political ads or doctored videos.
3 separate police officers, all involved in different incidents, all fired, according to the chief of police here in Phoenix. One video of Officer Christopher Meyer went viral after he pointed a gun and yelled profanities at a black family. This after police received a complaint about shoplifting. No charges were made in that case. After 6 weeks of suspension, the chief decided that punishment did not go far enough. Another detective was also fired over racist social media posts targeting the Muslim and African American communities. And a police sergeant was let go following an internal probe that remains under criminal investigation.
The Maricopa County Governing Board is taking steps to suspend an elected official accused of running a human smuggling scheme. Prosecutors say Assessor Paul Peterson illegally paid women from the Marshall Islands to have their babies in the U.S. and give them up for adoption. Peterson's former lawyer has denied the adoption business broke the law. The Maricopa County Board of Supervisors voted unanimously to notify Peterson that it plans to consider suspending him for up to 120 days. The board is required to give Peterson 5 days notice. Board members say Peterson, who refuses to resign, cannot perform his duties from jail. And auditors have found documents related to his adoption business on his county computer.
Phoenix City Council will need to vote again on possibly raising rideshare fees for Sky Harbor travelers. A portion of the aviation item was not posted on the city's website 60 days in advance, as required by state law, according to a city official. The rate increase has been postponed until then. The proposal will be formally considered again at a December 18th meeting. The rate change originally passed, and there has been no indication that council members will change their vote.
The opening of Fry's in downtown Phoenix is about much more than a grocery store. It's about the continued rebirth of downtown. Phoenix was the fastest growing city in America in 2018, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. City officials point to a few keys to this renaissance. Arizona State opened a downtown campus, including the Cronkite School of Journalism, in 2008, bringing an influx of students. The development of the light rail along Central Avenue is another factor, making it easier to get to and from the downtown core. Jobs drive growth, and the city officials say opening of the Phoenix Biomedical Center brought high-skill, high-wage jobs and new residents to the area. To serve the residents, new restaurants and shops followed, like those at the Arizona Center, which received a major upgrade in 2015. Professional sports have also played their part, with the Diamondbacks at Chase Field and the Suns at Talking Stick Arena, along with major concerts at these venues. It all adds up to a newly vibrant downtown core that has been missing one thing until now: a grocery store. Ellie Nakamoto-White is live at the new Fry's downtown. Ellie?
Thanks, guys. This new 67,000 square foot building will be fulfilling a big need for those in the Phoenix area. Those who came earlier say this should be something that should have happened years ago.
Well, because I am in a wheelchair, it's just very, very hard and difficult to get groceries back from a long distance.
For shoppers like Sarah Hawk-Selcher, the opening of this Fry's supermarket in downtown Phoenix means more than just a new grocery store. It means basic necessities will be a little bit closer to home.
Oh, I had to go a long ways. We're on the other side of town, and it was very, very difficult to bring all that stuff back on my wheelchair.
Until now, the closest grocery store was miles away. With this new addition, downtown Phoenix will no longer be known as a food desert.
Food deserts are areas that don't have accessible foods within, let's say, 20 minutes of walking to a place or within a certain radius around them.
It provides residents here who are in downtown the ability to get what they need right where they need it.
Fry's manager Chris Berryman says he is excited to make life a bit easier for downtown Phoenix residents and the workers.
So the people that don't want to drive, use light rail, we're going to be very convenient for that.
During today's opening, thousands of shoppers crowded the store.
It's been chaotic. Absolutely chaotic.
But despite the throngs of people, it's clear many have been waiting for this day for far too long.
I think it is so wonderful because there was no other grocery store around here. A lot of people are on government, you know, and I am. And so I've been shopping at CVS, and man, it just drained me. I think it's going to be helpful for everybody.
In addition to today's opening, Fry's has announced it's donating $40,000 to 2 local charities that fight food insecurity across the state. Live in downtown Phoenix, Ellie Nakamoto-White, Cronkite News.
Tucson is raising the minimum age to buy e-cigarettes and other tobacco products to 21, up from 18, starting on January 1st. The Arizona Daily Star reports that the City Council's 6-1 vote last night makes Tucson the 5th in the state to adopt such an ordinance. It will include a 90-day educational period before enforcement begins. First-time violations by businesses selling tobacco products to people younger than 21 will be punishable by a $500 fine.
Mesa has altered its recycling program due to growing costs and low demand overseas. According to the city, about 25% of items recycled by residents are not actually recyclable, and an even larger amount is contaminated. The list of acceptable items now includes only certain types of cans, cardboard, and paper. Items such as glass food jars, milk cartons, plastic, and paper cups are no longer accepted. The city is encouraging people to begin following the new guidelines right away.
Coming up next at Cronkite News at 5, the teacher shortage continues.
We'll tell you what the Department of Education and local school districts are doing to attract more educators to Arizona.
And a University of Arizona astronomer discovers a mysterious galaxy. The details coming up in just a few minutes.
Millions of people die every year from drinking dirty water. I would never have felt I had the ability to do something without ASU pushing me. We built filtration systems out of local materials with the people. To see those kids drink clean water for the first time, it's the most rewarding feeling that you can ever have. I went to ASU because I wanted to change the world. The thing I never would have expected is how the world would have changed me.
Then I stumbled across the kids programs and I fell in love with author. I used to be a school teacher. Some of my classes I taught were K through 6. I liked author's approach to how you would teach a moral or how to teach a way to react to a situation. And they always had a moral to the story. So I still watch author quite religiously.
For more information about including Arizona PBS in your future plans, visit azpbs.org/giving.
President Trump claiming victory in Syria today after a deal was reached between Russia and Turkey yesterday. The president announcing he's lifting all economic sanctions against Turkey.
The government of Turkey informed my administration that they would be stopping combat and their offensive in Syria and making the ceasefire permanent.
The president says he's keeping a campaign promise to bring all troops in the Middle East home. Over the last year, U.S. forces in Afghanistan have quietly been reduced. Some U.S. troops are still guarding oil fields in Syria, but President Trump says the embattled areas is no longer the U.S.'s responsibility.
The commander of the U.S.-backed Syrian forces today thanked Trump for stopping the Turkish military offensive into northern Syria. The 20 by 2020 plan was supposed to ease Arizona's chronic teacher shortage by raising their pay 20% by 2020. But at the start of the school year, there were still, yep, you guessed it, 20% of teaching jobs still vacant.
Despite slow progress, state officials say the state's moving in the right direction, as Hannah Ehrlich reports from our Washington bureau.
Doug Cloushie says that when it comes to recruiting teachers, there are some things he can't change about the Chinle Unified School District.
I think the challenge right now is the remoteness of the area itself.
But Cloushie, the associate superintendent in Chinle, says the district has changed the things it can, namely better pay and benefits for teachers.
Well, Chinle Unified's made strides in salaries, which, as you know, is very significant to teachers. We are in the top 5 districts in Arizona now. Very competitive in our salaries, good packages for health and apartments and so forth.
Cloushie was in Washington yesterday for a panel on recruiting and retaining teachers, a problem in Arizona where 20% of teaching jobs were vacant when this school year started. Nearly half of the jobs were filled by teachers who were not certified, but one Arizona educator said certification is not as pressing a problem as vacancies.
Some of the certification requirements have changed over the years to allow for more alternative routes to certification. We think that's a bit of a step in the right direction.
Larson, director of the Arizona Department of Education's Educator and School Excellence Division, said another step in the right direction is the state's 20 by 2020 plan. Passed after the Red for Ed protest, it promised a 20% pay raise for teachers. Cloushie agreed that it makes a difference. By attracting teachers to Chinle, he said, the district went from D and F ratings to C's and B's. Both men said there is still work to be done. Larson pointed to special needs students.
Yeah, they are our highest need area in the state, particularly in high poverty areas and minority areas.
But Closhey said they have started to turn the corner.
The biggest concern is always the ever-increasing achievement gap in reading and math. I think one of the ways we transform our societies is by creating those critical thinkers.
In Washington, Hannah Ehrlich, Cronkite News.
Summer may be over, but drownings are still a major concern in the Valley of the Sun.
Coming up, the steps you can take to keep your kids safe around water.
Stay in the know on the go. At Cronkite News, we work hard to report the facts and keep you updated, whether we're on set or on the scene.
Taking it from the studio to the field. So I'm here in South Phoenix.
In Phoenix, we're just a click away. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, or find us online at cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Drownings can happen in a moment's notice, and lives can be altered forever.
And when it does happen, many are left with the same question: what happens next?
Reporter Trey Bates has the story of one mother that has dealt with this unfortunate circumstance. Trey?
As the weather begins to change in the Valley of the Sun, accidents in water continue to happen. And when it came to this mother, she wasn't prepared for what happened next. The day started just like any other for Eliza Casares' heart, that quickly turned to tragedy.
It's too quiet. Where is he? Where is he? And I looked in his hiding places in the garage, underneath the bed. And that's when I opened up the sliding glass door and I saw him down at the bottom of the pool.
Her son, Eric, and his twin brother had been playing at their grandmother's home in Peoria, and what was a normal day turned into every parent's worst nightmare. Devastated by the day's events, she had nowhere to go until the Drowning Prevention Coalition of Arizona reached out to her.
It gave me another outlet. I felt, that first year in a cloud of darkness. I didn't know what else to do. I wanted to protect my other two children. I didn't want them to have the same thing happen to them. It finally gave me a chance to tell my story and know that there's people out there that are passionate about preventing this.
The Drowning Prevention Coalition's website includes reports from January 1st to September 30th where 4 deaths to children under the age of 6 have already occurred, a jump from the previous year in which only 1 child had died in Maricopa and Pinal counties. President Melissa Sutton shared what steps to take to avoid this from happening to anyone else.
A is for adult supervision. That's going to be active, sober, vigilant, and constant, because it just takes a few seconds for a child to slip away, and that's when bad things happen. B is for barriers, and that's going to be your fences, your alarms on the doors, covers over pools. It's going to be a plethora of different selections that people have out there. And then the C is multi-pronged. It's for classes and U.S. Coast Guard approved life vests. We want kids to get started as soon as possible. They've got those swim lessons, so when that motivated child, that highly motivated child, gets past whatever barriers you've put in place, if they fall in, they potentially could save themselves in that situation.
With these steps in mind, as well as remaining attentive around water, John Hinman, director of the EVO Swim Schools, shared his thoughts on child safety.
Never be more than an arm reach away. Always have eyes on the water, always have eyes on our children first and foremost. Get in the water and start training, start learning. Once we start having that basic knowledge and respect of the water, safety builds, and that's the biggest thing. That's what we're about, building that confidence, building that safety from the ground up. That's our goal.
By keeping our attention on the water and those around it can help to avoid life-threatening events from happening. In Arizona, the pool can be a place to gather together and have fun during the hot summer months. But even when it isn't, it is important to remain safe and aware around water. In the Media Center, I'm Trey Bates, Cronkite News.
A University of Arizona astronomer spotted a gigantic galaxy from the universe's dawn, and they've dubbed it Cosmic Yeti. The astronomer says a faint trace of light led her to discovering the distant galaxy. The light was likely caused by dust particles that were heated by the stars. But the dust clouds themselves obscured the stars, which essentially made the galaxy itself invisible from our view, until now. Astronomers are still trying to determine if this was a lucky find or if it's one of many to be discovered.
Now here in Arizona, I think any temperatures below the 90-degree mark are kind of out of this world.
I know, and we're going to see some. I'm so excited. I can barely sit still all day. Next week, we're going to see temperatures in the mid-70s, and it's not going to be a fluke. It's going to be actual average temperatures. But first, take a look. These are our current temperatures that we have going on across the country. So if you're traveling out of state for this Halloween weekend, you'll want to pay attention. 77 degrees currently over in Los Angeles. So if you're going over the border there, 90 degrees here today in Phoenix, and then about 76 in Orlando. So wherever you're traveling, it's not too bad for your Halloween weekend plans. But zooming into Arizona, your high temperatures for tomorrow, about 84 degrees there in Phoenix, a bit warmer upper 80s on the western border there, and then the mid 50s in Flagstaff. Looks like we have good versus evil going on right here, and we can see that as well as we look at our cool temperatures for tomorrow. We have some freezing here in Flagstaff, 24 degrees, 22 at the Grand Canyon, and 17 in Window Rock. Only 60 degrees for your low for tomorrow, though. Taking a look at your weekend forecast, bright and sunny skies, 84 degrees your high on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then your low going down to 50 degrees there on Monday with a high of 76. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we have highs in the mid 70s. So we're going to feel those fall temperatures. Looking at your events for this weekend, though, Halloween is coming up. On Saturday, we have the Festival for the Arts at the Herberger Theater, 11:30 to 5 p.m. 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. we have the Scottsdale 50th Annual Fall Festival. And then Sunday, the Arizona State Fair has its last day, as well as Dia de los Muertos Phoenix Festival. So grab a pumpkin, go take a picture, and enjoy those nice, cool temperatures. Back to you.
Thanks, Q.
Dancers defying stereotypes, beyond the stage and in the world of fashion.
After the break, we'll introduce you to some LA dancers partnering with a Phoenix-based company to make their dancewear more inclusive than ever.
As journalists at Cronkite News, we report on stories that matter to you by focusing on the local impact. We dig deeper and work tirelessly to keep you informed.
Live in Wickerburg.
Live in Los Angeles. In Cleveland. In Washington. In Louisville.
From Jerusalem. Live in Philadelphia.
From around the world to right here in Phoenix.
At Cronkite News, we report the facts and stick to the truth.
Fast-growing plus-size clothing industry is worth more than $21 billion in the U.S., and the demand for inclusive dancewear is no different. Reporter Erica Morris shows us how a mother-daughter duo from Avondale created an inclusive dancewear company.
The typical dancer's body is described as long, lean, and strong, but there are those who are proud to break that mold.
They just couldn't get in their head that someone who's not, super skinny can be a good dancer.
Amanda LeCount, an 18-year-old dancer from Los Angeles, says that fitted costumes were always a challenge and she constantly had to alter them. Stephanie Patrick, a choreographer and competitive dancer from Mesa, Arizona, shared similar frustrations, emphasizing how the fit of a dancer's clothes are key to moving freely.
Especially for dancers, you want to be comfortable in your body, you want to be comfortable with whatever you're wearing, you want to be comfortable in just everything that you're doing.
Both Amanda and Stephanie found plus-size dancewear that lets them really move through Revel, a Phoenix-based dancewear line that caters to dancers who are size 18 and up. Mom, LaToya Bray, was inspired to start the line in 2016 after her daughter's dance performance.
I was at her recital and saw all the little girls that were considered curvy or plus size. Everything was tight on them. They had muffin tops from the leggings. It just didn't fit them properly at all.
Revel celebrates curves with empowering phrases like dope curves and everybody is a dance body on them.
Revel has made it better because now I can go out and dance and people are like, oh, I like your jacket, where'd you get that from? I was like, oh, I got this from Revel.
One reason why the measurements for dancewear are often inaccurate is because companies simply expand the bust, waist, and hips of a smaller size. To combat stigma, Revel uses an inspiration chart that features the measurements of prominent curvy dancers in the industry.
We use real sizes. We don't start with a size 0 or 2 and then upsize. We start with an 18-20 and then go from there.
And going there means encouraging plus-size women to participate in dance workshops and runway shows that Revel hosts.
We want you to have a good time. We want you to come out regardless of what you look like, build confidence, and that's why we have our workshop to help people build confidence and just kind of get out of their mind and just say, hey, I can move, I can do this, and I can be powerful.
With that power comes opportunity. Amanda went from modeling Revel to walking in singer Rihanna's New York City runway show for Fenty Fashion. Next up, she'll perform in a live-action show of Disney's Little Mermaid.
You know, for all I know, I wouldn't have been able to do the Rihanna Fenty show if I hadn't done that.
Through Revel, LaToya and Zanaya are helping dancers break the mold, encouraging them to move with confidence. In Los Angeles, Erica Morris, Cronkite News.
Revel Dancewear recently launched an exclusive t-shirt where 40% of the proceeds will provide low-income dancers with free access to their Move with Confidence workshops.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
On the next Arizona Horizon, how increased support and new regulations are affecting the state's after-school programs, and the story of the 688, the only all-black female battalion to serve in Europe during World War II.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, the top U.S. diplomat in Ukraine testifies President Trump directly tied military aid to personal political help. Coming up after Cronkite News and Arizona Horizon on Arizona PBS.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.